Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope that everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Sorry if I sound a bit groggy. I'm still a little tired, as one could, expect. It's still morning time. And just always a lot going on. I'm particularly exhausted. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. Yeah, very big thank you to everyone who leaves. Sorry, I looked down at my phone. A friend of mine is calling. I'll just call her back. I don't know. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Yeah, welcome back to what I'm going to call another edition of No. I promise this time is different. I totally promise. It's not the same as it was before because this time is a new time and therefore the old time doesn't matter. If that sounds confusing, yeah, it's because I said crazy words. We have had a non-stop stream of news about this cycle or lack thereof. The last month has been marred by a huge amount of news regarding debt and deficit, and the US can't get stuff under control, and de-dollarization and cryptocurrency prices, and because of that prices are going higher. This is, I think, I don't know if we've been set up to make this the narrative for 2026, but it definitely is particularly on course, as we have heard from a multitude of analysts and very popular people within the space about the after effects of what these high levels of debt around the world are going to do. We talked about was it $38 trillion? That, I think that was the number. Or was it 67? I don't remember. It was an extremely high in the trillions number of the amount of debt that the US has, and as such, everything bad happen except for asset prices, or so we've been told. Paul Tudor Jones is back in the news. He was in the news, this was a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. He was discussing crypto prices and that he's expecting, what was it? He thinks Bitcoin is going to 700,000. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of like, oh no, Bitcoin's going to go a lot higher. You just wait and see, like that kind of thing. He's back in the news again. Anytime a famous billionaire says something about crypto, it ends up being popular news. During a recent CNBC interview, billionaire Paul Tudor Jones predicted that a massive rally could take place next year. This is kind of, I told you before, we've been told that over now prices are going to do exceptionally well. That's now spilling over into next year. If you missed any of the videos, with a number of analysts predicting that bull run, bull market, any kind of upward price predictions or movement would, and I dare say the word is, according to the analysts, going to continue into 2026. The amount of money that we've heard that institutions and banks plan on buying in Bitcoin and in crypto next year, you remember, is expected to triple. If we had momentum up this year from that amount and they 3x it, therefore prices would of course jump. There was something recently, what's this guy's name? Samson Mao was also in the news re-predicting Godzilla candles for Bitcoin. These are meant to be, he says, daily $10,000 movements upward as we essentially propel ourselves towards a $1 million Bitcoin. He said, so if it looks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's probably not a chicken, right? Ha 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 ha. Tudor Jones is not certain that the exact same scenario will play out this time around, but all the ingredients are already in place. In fact, the current setup is potentially much more explosive compared to 1999, the Tudor Investment Corporation founder argued. Instead of hiking rates with a budget surplus like in 1999, the Fed is set to implement several rate cuts with a 6% budget deficit, which has not been since after 1945. We are now getting more indications that apparently more rate cuts are going to happen, especially as we move further into 2026. The expectations are basically, like I said before, we're expecting a 1% interest rate by the time we get to next summer, 2026. He said, so it's really what retail jumps on. So crypto, digital, gold. That's obviously something very, very appealing. The legendary hedge fund manager says that the winning portfolio would be some combination of Bitcoin, gold, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 index. This is usually something that we've heard before. A lot of people have a lot of billionaires before, not that they shunned gold, but there was a kind of like hesitation to mention gold before in a sentence. If you mentioned I like crypto, many people did not mention silver or gold in the same exact discussion, but now they are. Yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? But like I said before, I'm gonna be incredibly disappointed if all these people keep saying the exact same thing. All of them. It's now every single person. There's not one person who's like, oh, I don't know. They're all talking about massive gains and momentum into 2026. We'll see what happens. I told you by the middle of February, we should know if this cycle is over or broken or continues or what have you. That's the Paul Tudor Jones news. And yeah, let's move on. Also I guess, so this is just a continuation of what we've had before. A lot of companies earlier this year, I'm sure you remember, announced that they were going to be buying crypto, buying Bitcoin, etc. And then we had a slight divergence. Some companies were announcing that they were going to be acquiring Ethereum. And then I think two companies said Litecoin, two companies said Dogecoin. I think three companies said Solana. And then there was like, I think one or two other companies recently who announced Binance coin. And that's, I personally think that was one of the main reasons why it actually went over $1,000 a couple of months ago. If you remember, there was a huge like conversation. Oh my gosh, Binance coin, Binance coin. Usually in many cases, if you see a coin's price go up after a partnership, or especially if someone is announcing a treasury, all it takes is for them to buy that coin spot. Like if you don't buy it OTC, if you buy directly from an exchange, but you're pumping in millions, tens of millions, billions of dollars, of course, it's going to have a positive effect on the price. That's complete logic. So apparently there is a company called YZI Labs. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's Yeezy. I don't know if that's Yeezy. YZ. I can't really figure out what it's supposed to be. Is apparently the rebranded version of what was called Binance Labs. The investment arm of the crypto from Binance has announced its new investment move. Accordingly, YZD, I Labs, they've announced a $1 billion builder fund to invest in founders in the BNB ecosystem, specifically on the Binance coin chain. I expected nothing less. The move aims to grow the BNB ecosystem and accelerate Web3 innovation. A couple of other coins, I mean, almost all of them have had something like this. You might not have heard about them. They were far more popular 5, 6 years ago. There was news that there were a lot of Ethereum. So the story goes. There were a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum developers who were basically kind of working for free. That was the news. And they were making really cool things and innovating, and they created blah 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 blah. But the news was apparently they weren't getting paid. There was no funding for developers. So a lot of the foundations at some point announced hey, we're going to set aside $10 million for developers, and anyone who had like a real proposal to fix a chain, to build on the chain, to make another layer 2 solution for that chain, they would be awarded $500,000 in funding to hey, develop this thing. So a $1 billion fund is completely off the charts compared to anything that we've ever actually seen. This means that they're expecting a lot more money to flow into the ecosystem, and they basically have a lot of money. Can you imagine having you have your own chain, you made your own coin. Even if you set aside $50 million, that's an enormous amount of money to fuel for years and years and years for developers to help them build out your chain. $1 billion just sitting on the side for people to be oh yeah, I want to do something. That's insane. The fund will support Binance coin-based innovation through capital, tools, integrations, and its 460 million user ecosystem, focusing on such areas as DeFi, artificial intelligence, real-world assets, DeSci, is that supposed to be decentralized science? Oh gosh, what is that? Payments and wallets. The real-world assets has also been a huge topic of discussion in case you missed it at some point. The idea of tokenization, putting things on top of chains, real-world assets, real estate, land, diamonds. We're seeing a lot of current discussions revolving around stocks and bonds and treasuries, like government things that are just simply being digitized. Stock exchanges are also working on the exact same thing, and discussions are now being had by stock exchanges. You saw some recently about them trying to, be open 24 hours. I have a 24-hour trading desk because crypto runs 24 hours. Binance runs 24 hours. Coinbase runs 24 hours. And the older legacy systems, if you will, do not. This fund will provide startups with up to $500,000 in investment and direct access to Yeezy Labs and Binance Coin core team. It will also provide startups with access to the lab's global network of over 460 million users. Okay. I remember hearing those numbers before. 460 million is the number that we've been told is the complete amount of people who were in crypto in some capacity. I don't know if 460 million people are specifically using Binance Coin, Binance Chain, or Yeezy Labs. I don't know if that number is a little bit inflated. It doesn't sound like we heard years ago that the number was 150 million. If there's 150 million in the crypto sphere, in total, if there's 460 million people just in the Binance ecosystem, that would then mean that realistically, we'd have over 1 billion people into crypto, into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into XRP. The problem is 1 out of every 8 people on this planet is not holding crypto. We would have like our prices would be about a good 8x from where we currently are right now. And then the president of whatever labs said, how amazing, awesome, super cool, and fantastic. They always talk about how amazing they are. That, you know, they're not going to talk about how bad their products are or whatever. But yeah, cool. Let's see what that leads to. I assume in the relative near future, they're going to be, I'm just kind of chucking it up to logic. There's going to be a lot of people talking about a $15,000 Binance coin and a $100,000 Binance. I don't think it's that far off from people having these discussions. Binance is gigantic. That was something that people had to deal with years ago, and now they understand exactly how big this company is. Yeah, okie dokie, everyone. I'm fatigued. That's gonna do it for this video. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.